everyone, Dana Firth here, and this is my first video, so I want to welcome everybody and thank you for being willing to listen to me talk. This first video is going to be about reviews. The reason that I want to talk about reviews is because I recently did an interview with Kendall Bailey after he wrote a very kind review for the magnum opus, which is one of my stories. All of the links will be below afterwards, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, just scroll down and read that text and you'll find everything you need. And I got to thinking, what happens when you get a negative review? I mean, you're going to feel bad. You're going to want to lash out, probably. You're going to want to respond and say, hey, you don't understand what I was going for. Clearly, you're an idiot. You don't understand me. Am I genius? I'm a total creative genius. But that's not a good idea. You should never do that. It just makes you look bad. Now, here's the thing. You might already know that the internet is forever, and years down the road, if you end up making it big, or if you end up having a large group of fans, people are going to want to dig up crap on you. That's just how people are. I don't really understand why. I don't know, but that's just how people are. And you don't want to give them any fodder to use against you, ever. So if somebody says something negative, don't respond. Now you might be wondering, well, Dana, what if they say something really inflammatory or abusive or something? Shouldn't I be able to stick up for myself? And the answer is yes, you should be able to stick up for yourself, but you have to do it in a way that isn't overt. There are people who will respond to these things. Even some of your fans might respond and yell at the person, whoever's doing it. And obviously you have no control over that. But for yourself, I think you need to just block and report people. And this can get very hard, particularly when people are saying really personal or really cruel things to you. I mean, I know people who have been trolled by people who have found pictures of dead family members and used those pictures to create accounts and harass people. I mean, that's just cruel. I don't know who does that, but they could be a villain in a book for sure. So that's what I think. I think that if you get a negative review, first of all, don't respond, just let it slide. And second of all, if it's really rude, then you can report it. I mean, people are entitled to their own opinions. So even if they don't like your work and it's a negative review and it hurts your feelings, well, that sucks, but you're just gonna have to carry on. I mean, come on, if you look up your absolute favorite author of all time, look them up on Goodreads or on Amazon, and they're going to have negative reviews. It doesn't matter who they are. So if your idols get poor ratings on certain books or certain stories or whatever, why wouldn't you? It doesn't say anything about the real quality of your work unless, 100% of your views are negative. Then in that case, you might want to examine changing a few things. Okay, so you're like, well, alright, so I'm not supposed to respond, and I'm just supposed to block and report if they're really mean. What the hell am I supposed to do in the meantime? Like, I still feel like crap. My suggestion would be to read through your positive reviews, if you can handle going through the reviews again, because anytime somebody says something's brilliant, or, I couldn't put the book down, or I absolutely love this author's style, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. You're going to say, hey, yeah, that's right. There's some people that like me. I'm pretty special. Does that remind anyone else of that SNL skit? I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. Gosh darn it, people like me. Another thing I would suggest is to go through some of your stories that you always were very proud of and look at them and figure out what makes you love them so much. Is it because you thought that you wrote this character really well? Is it because there's a scene in it where you feel like you did a really good job describing atmosphere or action or something like that? If you can remember what made you proud to write these pieces in the first place, it won't erase the hurt that comes with a negative review, but it will really help you sit back and remember, hey, I was proud of this and there's a good reason I'm proud of this, and that's because it's worthwhile and it's good. If that still doesn't work, if you've read through your comments and your reviews and you've looked at your story and said, man, you know what, the story isn't as good as I remember it being, these people who left positive reviews are mostly my friends, how do you feel good about yourself when that's happening? that's actually a pretty tricky situation. And I think a lot of indie authors run into that, especially when you're first starting out, because you don't have a lot of reviews. You don't have a lot of people who know who you are. Well, my friend, in that situation, here's what I would suggest. Think back to before you were a writer. What did you do then? Were you creative in some other way? Or were you miserable at your job? Or, maybe you just didn't have the time, or you were depressed, or, something was going on where you weren't happy because you weren't a writer. And now you're a writer, and you've put out work, you've put in hours and hours of effort, and, someone has just basically taken a crap all over your baby, and you really don't like it. So you think back to when you were unhappy, and before you had written this. And look at where you are now. Even if you got a negative review, nobody can take away the fact that you've published a book. Nobody can take away the fact that you put hours and hours of work into something that you're actually, at one point, you were pretty proud of. Look how far you've come. And if you give up now because of one negative review, you're never going to see how far you can actually go. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true, because everybody has to start somewhere. Everyone has to get over that first horrible experience of, oh my god, somebody totally shredded my work, I can't look at the world, I can't do anything anymore, I'm just too scared, oh my god, I want to quit. Don't quit. I'm sorry. That was really weird. To summarize, if you get a negative review, don't respond, take a few deep breaths, walk away from the computer, and try to remember where you've come from, how hard you've worked, the people that love your work, and what makes you proud of what you're doing. And if you end up on the other end of the spectrum with just this horrible, almost like a personal bashing, like harassment type of thing, you block them and you report them. I don't know if you heard about Kathleen Hale, but she's an author who actually stalked one of her harassers. It didn't end very well. Kathleen ended up making herself look completely nutso. And sorry, Kathleen, if somehow you found my video and you're watching this, but I'm pretty sure you've heard it all before. It doesn't help. I mean, the inner author in me was like, yes, oh my god, that troll got what she deserved, because that lady, admittedly, was absolutely terrible. But it didn't do Kathleen any favors. It didn't help her look professional, and it didn't really accomplish anything other than sating that desire to just stab that troll in the eyeball like she deserved. And I mean, trolls do deserve that, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's just a part of existing in general on the internet, so whatever. Alright, if you liked what I had to say, if you liked any of my advice, subscribe, please. I also have a podcast. I have a website and a blog that you can take a look at. I would also appreciate any nice reviews on my stories. I run a short story and flash fiction site with fellow author Mary Pappas, and you can find all the links for all of these great projects down below. I hope to see you at one of these places soon, or hear from you with a review, or just a comment or something. Side note, you might have noticed I disabled comments. I don't really want to deal with them. So if you really have something to say, you can find my email address or hit me up on social media, and I will be happy to talk to you as long as you are not a horrible person. So this is Dana Firth, and I would love to show you my cats before I go. Would you mind seeing my cats? This is Momo. Say hi, Mo. Say hi. She winked at you. And this one right here is Ume. Or the light's kind of getting in the way. So Momo is a snowshoe and Ume's a Siamese. Right, say bye. Say bye. Bye-bye.